Before we start the video, I just want to quickly apologize because I haven't been uploading often the past few weeks. I had a few things to take care of at school, but now they're completely done. I will be able to start to upload multiple times per week. Alright, now back to the video. In the past few games where Draymond Green wasn't playing, you can clearly see the lack of control the Warriors had on both offense and defense. Nonetheless, looking at the structure of this Warriors roster, the problem is obvious. Out of the current 17 players on the team, 8 of them are guards. I'm not too worried about the small forward position since we have decent depth there, but when it comes to power forward and center, the hole is pretty big. While the trade deadline is approaching and there are actually a few decent options on the market, we'll be talking about what the Warriors should do with the current 8 guards on the roster, and with that being said, let's roll the intro.
Hi. I'm on my match in the dark. 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 I'm on my match in the
Yo, what's up guys, Jason's here back with another video. As mentioned previously, the trade deadline is approaching. I will be uploading multiple times per week to keep you guys updated with any upcoming news and rumors. If you want Golden State Warriors content from all angles, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button so you will always be notified when I drop a new video. Today, we'll be looking to the perspectives of players' attributes and salary to determine what the front office should do with these 8 guards. We'll then decide if the Warriors should keep, trade, or cut this player. Alright, with this out of the way, let's get into it. First up, Steph Curry. I think we don't need to spend a lot of time on this. Steph is making about $45.78 million this year, and he's worth every dollar of that. Averaging 26.4 points, 5.4 rebounds, and 6.1 assists, while shooting 38.5% from the arc, Steph is having another MVP season. No team in the league nowadays have enough assets to acquire Steph, and I think this is one move the Warriors front office will never consider. So for Steph Curry, it's pretty simple. The decision is to keep. Moving on to Klay Thompson, who just got back from his back-to-back season-ending injuries. Now, even though I'm a Warriors fan, I don't think Klay Thompson will ever get back to 100%, but an 80 or 90% is very possible. Stats-wise, Klay is only averaging about 14.7 points, 2.8 rebounds, and 2 assists, while shooting about 30% from the arc. But I'm not too worried about it because we need to give him more time to recover and get back to the NBA game pace. However, what somewhat surprised me is that Klay had 2 blocks and 4 steals in the past 6 games. This is a really good sign as his defensive attributes are also getting back to shape. As part of the identity for the Warriors team, even though he's making about $38 million, I think Klay will fully recover near playoff time. So again, for Klay Thompson, the decision is to keep as well. Alright guys, starting now, things can get a bit tricky since the following players' contract is easy to move and are not absolutely irreplaceable. Starting with Jordan Poole. Now, this is an interesting situation. Poole is 1 year left on his contract after this season, and I think we Warriors fans all want to keep him. But based on the performance he's having this season, averaging 16.6 points, 3 rebounds, and 3.3 assists while shooting 32.2% of the arc, it might be expensive to sign him back. However, the improvement Poole had this year compared to last season is just respectable. Looking at his movement and core vision, you can tell that he's starting to have a little bit of Steph Curry's playing style. At the age of only 22 years old, Jordan Poole can potentially become the starting point guard for the Warriors once Steph Curry retires from the game. Now, because Klay Thompson is back, it somewhat put Jordan Poole at a weird position. However though, with the fact that Jordan Poole is still on his rookie deal, I think it makes more sense to keep him this season. Even if you put him on the bench, he'll still be a great contributor. Plus, when it comes to playoff time, we'll also be able to evaluate how Poole performs in big moments. So for Jordan Poole, the decision now is to keep him, but the conversation of trading him away next season is still on the table. Now, moving on to one of my favorite players for the Warriors this season, Gary Payton II. Let me just get this straight, I am not moving him by any means this season. Looking at his contract, Payton is only making about $1.7 million. This number in today's NBA is basically nothing. While playing only 13.3 minutes per game, Payton is able to average 7.7 points, 3.7 rebounds, and 1.4 steals, while shooting 39% from the arc. Obviously, one of the big reasons I want to keep him is because he's cost-friendly, but most importantly, Payton is the perfect prototype for this Warriors team. He's able to make 3-pointers, has crazy athleticism. I'm sure you guys saw his dunks. And he's also the top 3, if not the best defender on this Warriors team. This season, hear me out. Payton has a defensive rating of 98.3. And guess what? Based on defensive rating alone, Gary Payton II is the best defender in the league. Obviously, there are more attributes that determine how good a player is on defense. Being number 1 on the defensive rating leaderboard is a great proof that Payton is really a decent defender. So like I said, this is an easy keep and I would love to extend him once his contract expires. We're now halfway done with this video. If you're still here, don't forget to smack the like button and I really appreciate it. Next up, Damian Lee. If you've been watching the game lately, you can tell Lee is slowly falling out of rotation. With Klay Thompson back in the squad, Damian Lee will likely see his minutes slowly go down. The Warriors acquired him back in 2018 since Klay Thompson and Steph Curry both had injuries and the team desperately needs backcourt help. But now since everybody's back healthy and the Warriors added even more depth at the guard position, I unfortunately think it's time for Damian Lee to go. Now, don't get me wrong here, Lee is a good player under the Warriors system, but I simply feel like having a roster spot for Lee is somewhat a luxurious move instead of filling up the current hole the team has. Averaging 8.1 points, 3.1 rebounds, and 1 assist per game while shooting 35% of the arc, Lee has the mark in the league today and his $1.9 million contract can be moved easily. So for Damian Lee, the decision is to trade. Moving on to Moses Moody, the 14th pick this year. To be honest, I think this is one of the hardest decisions the Warriors have to make this season. Because Moody is still a rookie but barely has any playing time, his value is more correlated with people's expectations for him as the 14th overall pick. But let me just say this, I never support the decision to trade away a lottery pick this early in his career. If we decide to trade him, it will save us about $3.5 million, which is pretty big for a player who barely gets on the court. But on the other hand, we're making the assumption that Moody doesn't have the attribute we're looking for and it does not worth it for the franchise to wait for him to develop. And I think you guys can clearly see that Moody seems outshined by Jonathan Kuminga, who is getting more play minutes and keeps showing more improvements. Right now, because the biggest need for the Warriors is big man, Moody's contract and his rookie presence can be the difference in the trade market. So for Moses Moody, the decision for me is to trade. Alright, to wrap things up, the final 2 guards here, Quinn Witherspoon and Chris Rosa. They both have 2-way contract and don't have any actual cap hit on the active roster, so I don't have any preference on what the team does with them. But I think we just have to make sure they both are familiarized with the scheme and can provide rotational support if injuries occur. Alright guys, so this wraps up the whole episode. Let me know what do you want the Warriors to do with the current guard situation. And if you enjoyed the content, don't forget to leave that subscribe and follow me on social media with all the link in the description down below. Once again, thank you guys so much for watching this video and I will see you guys in the next episode. Peace.